Hey guys, been thinking about changing up my YouTube. I tried with another thing. Didn't feel happy with it, so I just marked all those private. Was trying to film stuff that was trying to be creepy and edgy, but it didn't work. So let me try to move my ideas on film to something else entirely. Because on my surfing Hulu, like now almost 2 months ago, I found the Criterion collection, which I was like, wow. The Criterion collection, which are like critically acclaimed foreign films, American films, a lot of foreign films. So there's going to be stuff that's going to be more racy, more everything, but critically acclaimed films on Hulu. And my idea in my blog that I have, because I have a blog, I'll link it down in the description, because I have a lot of other stuff. Well, these reviews of the movies that I'm doing are surprisingly longer than anything I've run on my blog before, so I kind of went way overboard with these, so this video might be a little long. Not as long as some videos, because this is actually one of the shorter runs, but this is like setting up what the whole thing is going to be about, the Criterion collection from A to Z, I'm calling this, because it sounds nice, it rolled off the tongue. I think it fits in the YouTube search bar, like YouTube thing that says what this video is about, so that's what I'm running with, and it's catchy. But what I'm talking about today, going by alphabetical order on Hulu, instead of, like, me attempting to do, like, how would I do that? Like, chronological order? Length of movie order? I don't know. Those ideas sound terrible, except for maybe the chronological one. But, blogging, making everybody watch a whole ton of, like, movies from the, like, 1910s or 1920s for a while. And then, like, getting blocked probably just a whole block of, like, 1960s, 1970s films. Kind of boring. So I was like, let's try actually going by, like, A to Z order. And with, numbers in there, of course. But yeah, A to Z. So, the first one that was on Hulu that I have actually seen, that might not be actually the first A to Z thing, depending on if they added new movies, is 21 Days. A British film, made in like 1940. So, it was pretty good. Had a couple of ideas about it. I mean, the whole movie is kind of boring because it's the 1940s film. I don't like the early movies where they're setting up a lot of ideas, unless it's like Metropolis, which is like this German Fritz Lang film, which I have to say is probably my favorite film ever made, even though it's, first of all, silent film in German, so, have to be translated in English. And currently, the most, well done version is only like 95% complete, because some of the stuff got disintegrated or badly enough worn down that it only have like the intertitle sequences. But yeah, old movies I actually do like. So if any of you are like, oh, you're not gonna like older movies, no. Genres I don't like as much. Love sci-fi, for example. Love action movies. Love, I actually love, like, psychological things, so, like, the French New Wave ideas of, let's just do whatever we want and have, like, character studies for, like, two. I've watched, like, 2 of them. I liked both of them immensely. But, like, anything to do with hard-boiled detective things, I have trouble with. It's just, murder mysteries, I just don't like them as much. Mostly because the hard-boiled detective, like, stereotype that was made in, like, the, 30s or 40s, with, like, Humphrey Bogart and all that. I don't like. Now, if you also hear, like, thunder, there's thunderstorm going on for the last few hours. So, if you hear a big booming, it's the weather. It's been kind of on the fritz. But yeah, 21 Days, 1940s British movie. Fantastic in theory, because it's the Hulu thing is pretty terrible, because how it's said on Hulu is like, oh, let's see, where to put this? A man is 21 days freedom before he must admit to killing his lover's husband, or another man will be found guilty. You're just like, that sounds awesome. That sounds perfectly fine. Except that most of the movie is courtroom stuff. That's just like, why? Which is funny because I'm a history major, I should like this movie because it has, like, scenes. I think. I'm not really sure. But I think they have scenes shot in Old Bailey, which is like the old London court system, which is, like, hilarious. It's like dudes in powdered wigs and blah blah blah. This is 1940, but this still looks like, the British court system. So, I mean, I've heard that hasn't changed much either. They still have, like, the wigs and the whatever. But I'm not really sure, but I think they do still have the wigs. But yeah, I should like it, because I actually took a class, as a history major, hopefully. Planning on being a history major, so going to college for history, I should like movies that are, like, historically okay, or, have kind of cool elements that are just like, oh, I see what they're doing. And also historical movies I probably am going to have to research, because there's a lot of movies that are based on true stories, that are based on, or, like Braveheart, which is very much terrible, or like the TV show Vikings, which is surprisingly good, even though if you actually pay attention to the TV shows, like, sources of what they're actually basing people on, there's like 200 years of history being shown in the TV show Vikings in, like, maybe 5 years, like, actual TV chronology. So when movies and TV shows are based on historical stuff, the timing can be kind of weird. But this is a tangent. Just saying, me and tangents, we like each other. Or I like tangents. They get a whole mess of ideas up in my head. But yeah, used a lot of Wikipedia for this, so, when I talk a lot more about this, there's a lot more Wikipedia stuff about English movies, like movies in English, usually, compared to foreign films, because there's some movies that you have to, like, dig down in, like, the references in Wikipedia to even find anything at all. Like, there's Japanese films that I looked up and I'm like, there's a cast list. But yeah, this is 21 Days, so British movie, can't be that hard. And it shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't have been that bad of a movie. Because it had Laurence Olivier and Vivian Leigh. I mean, the dude is like Lawrence of Arabia, I think, in one of his movies. Lawrence of Arabia, I think. And Vivian Leigh had just been, like, done in Gone with the Wind. Scarlett O'Hara. They're major people. They're British actors, I think. Well known for acting. But I do have to say, I don't know what accent. It's like this mid-Atlantic accent. It doesn't exist. But like old movies have this like weird British American meld of accent. Like it's most noticeable in like Citizen Kane, where Kane just sounds weird because it's just like, I am kind of British, but I am also American, so blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. I can't even do it because it's like American British isms. So I mean, older movies, that's why they sound weird. There's this accent that everybody liked doing. That, you know, even like our presidents of the United States did it because it like was still done in like private schools where like a lot of the richer tended to become presidents, and so they had like this weird melding accent where it's like American Britishness. So if people sound weird, like a little off, like in American films that are like really old, it's usually that they're doing this like staged accent thing because they're still on the new things of like bringing film into film. Because here's the thing about film: prior to the talking era, most films were more like stage shows, seen most likely in what my idea is Metropolis. Huge sets, like ungodly huge. There's tons of extras, tons of everything. One of my favorite scenes is just like extras running up this giant flight of stairs. There's like 500 dudes. There's a ton. It also probably helped cause the fall of the Weimar Republic, and helped the rise of Nazi Germany, because it cost a lot of money. It cost like 5 million Reichsmarks in like 1927. So like right before the Great Depression. So movies. Very important things when you think. Historically, there's stuff. There is meat here. There's ideas here. But then you also get to like these earlier films that are setting up genres. They're not usually that good. But yeah. Vivian Leigh and Laurence Olivier has to be fantastic. No, it's not. It was not a fun movie. I remember it because I only wrote like 2,000 words here, and it's a surprisingly long video for 2,000 words because some of my things are, I have like 5,000 words in like this Japanese movie, and it's a 2-part movie, and both parts are like 5,000 words. So that's why I'm splitting some of these movies in like half, because they're actually split in half sometimes in Hulu. So if you see like YouTube videos of this, that's why. There's a lot of content in some of these videos. Or some of these blogs that I put. My blog is actually in the description. I have to say that probably if I didn't say that. A lot of everything I've said pretty much here is in my blog. Probably got into more tangent-y stuff that I didn't actually get into in the blog. So, a little different, but most of my ideas that were first view on the blog here, see, on the blog, it exists. That was a horrible thing because I'm trying to use my phone. But, yeah, no camera, so it's gonna look like this for a while. But yeah, I like this because it shows Big Ben. It shows it's gonna be British. This film, 21 Days, ungodly British. I don't know why. It's just British. Yeah. It's so British. It was literally made by London Films Productions. That's how British it was. It was so British, it actually had right above that, a shot of Big Ben. Pretty British. Yeah. This whole movie, 21 Days, based on The First and the Last by John Galsworthy, he's not well known of an British author, but he does have some works that I at least have heard of. I've heard his name. I know it exists. I was searching up Amazon one month, and just looking up all the classic books on Oxford Classics because I was really bored during college and I had nothing to do. So I was just let me just look up a bajillion books because I'm gonna buy them at some point. Then I had to leave them all off my Amazon. But yeah, I've heard of his name. So he's a playwright. He does stuff. He writes stuff. Wrote, because he's now dead, for probably the last 40 years or even more. But yeah, this guy is should know how to write. The thing is, they got a lot of writers, and screenwriting is similar to writing, it seems, but it's different. There's a difference. Script writing is different than actual writing, because green text is the closest thing I've ever come to actually be script format in normal internet stuff that isn't just here's a script. It's here's a weird story in somewhere. But yeah, script writing kind of was weird in the 40s. So they're just here's a cool writer. We're gonna get his name out there, and everybody will know him because they all bought his book probably. But yeah. Blah blah, worldly accent, blah blah blah. The nice thing is I'm hitting up all my tangents, so. Let's see. Blah blah. Yeah. I do have to say, a lot of the stuff that really had me was that there's a credit sequence at the beginning of the film instead of the end, which is seen in Disney films like Cinderella, where the credit sequence is all at the beginning instead of the end, because you're sitting there waiting for the movie to start, and this overture plays, and it's here's all the people that are in the film. And I kind of miss that. I kind of miss that thing about films, because it forces you to sit down and be oh, all these people made this film that I am now currently watching, instead of now the Marvel movies are all I love the Marvel movies. Total superhero nerd. Love it. But yeah, the Marvel movies have the reverse. Here's stuff that will connect to other movies at the end, forcing people that really want to get all the little Easter eggy bits, to actually wait until the end and watch for the credits. And like in like the 50s, they like changed like more of the chance that they'd be at the end. I think it was like a 50s or 60s invention. I don't know, I could be entirely wrong. But at some point, people switched. And I kind of like the older ones where it's like people just want to watch the movie, have to sit for some credits. Now, okay, watching 3 minutes of credits at the beginning of the movie can get painful, but that's why we have like time bars to like skip through. So it's possible. It's pretty simple to do, and also because it's 3 minutes of the movie or something, and in this movie 21 Days was like 70 minutes long. Yeah, 3 minutes to 70 minutes, fantastic. It just flies on by comparatively. And compared to other movies that I've currently so far blogged, it's one of the least long pretentiousness beginnings I've seen. But it also helped I've seen like 2 French films, so they're pretty pretentious at some points. But pretentious is fun sometimes. When, actually put down by an actually good director and with a person that actually has an idea of what they're doing. But yeah. I don't... Yeah. But yeah, I have to say, the thing that I noticed about this film is that the character names were like done in cursive, which 1940 people could read cursive. Hilarious, because usually like there's scenes in films that are just like people getting information from letters, and they show the letter and it's in cursive, and you're like, I want to read that, but it's been 70 years and cursive has pretty much died. Like, I can read cursive, but it takes me a while. And I can write cursive, but it also takes me a while. Nobody I know really likes using cursive. So, when old movies are like all in this cursiveness, and it's like, why is there this cursive that I care about to get some plot relevant point that's super important? But no. But yeah. Also, there's this aspect ratio thing, which, it's more square. Like, it's like a, 4x3 or something? It's like this Academy aspect ratio that looks really weird now. Because, like, most people now don't use it, because they use a different aspect ratio. Or, what is it, like? It's like some Academy aspect, it's called like the Academy aspect ratio, which is, I don't remember like the logistics of what the size is, but it's pretty close to a square-ish thing. So it looks different than like most other movies. Like there's this, older movies look a little different with like the few effects that they had, like fish eye lens, like iris shots where it's like a person like doing this and then like everything else around this hole here is black. Iris shots. Also pioneered in The Birth of a Nation, which when I found that out, I was really mad. But mostly because that's like my favorite old-timey shot. So finding that out really made me mad. But tangent. It's really early, so it's like I've been filming. I filmed one of these 20 minutes ago, and it didn't come out right. So me rambling about a movie seems to be my attempt at movie reviewing. But yeah, it's like 6:20 in the morning. I'm real tired. But yeah, 70-minute film, not a slog. So, this movie I think is the best so far I've seen in terms of if you want to get into a movie, it's short, there's not much going on, and it's not terrible, but it's okay. I mean, you get the idea of like the Criterion collection from it. It's just like these are movies that were critically acclaimed for their time and were somewhat important in like setting up stuff and doing things. It's boring film. It's ungodly boring. But yeah, as I've said before, very British film because it's set in the courtroom, and they're all British. They all look goofy because they're wearing the wigs, the powdered wigs, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's British." But yeah, old films loved like the dissolve technique where it's like the screen wipe, but the dissolving technique is when like one like fades away into another scene. As I said, pretty similar to a screen wipe, but it does something different. It's pretty nice to see. It's a very old-timey technique because they're just like, it looks cool. But it was pretty nice to see. In moderation, it's pretty cool. But not a lot of films use like really old techniques in movies because it looks dated now because people aren't used to it. So that's kind of sad because I always like the intertitle sequences, but I think it might be a really small majority because I really like silent movies. So like seeing intertitle sequences where they're like explaining the dialogue and here's what's going on and here's everything that's important and here's this sometimes terrible dialogue, but it's so enjoyably bad that it's good. Oh, it's just adorable because it's such an old movie. Sometimes they're such old movies that you're just like, I can't hate you because you're probably in the public domain by this point. But I do have to say, blah blah blah. Yeah, I do remember this. Jogging my memory. There was this scene with like this Italian dude, I think, and it was so weird. It's just like this Italian dude, for some reason, because Vivian, Leigh, and Olivier are running around having fun, and then they go into this Italian shopkeeper's dude, and he's doing the Italian, hey, you want to have some whatevers, and it's terrible. Oh my lord. And he's selling wine, and it's so stereotypical. I don't know if it's because it's like 20 years after World War I, and they're still mad at. I don't know, but the Italian shopkeeper in this is primarily just used for comedy and being that he's a foreigner and he doesn't get the customs and he does goofy things that are like Italian. I somehow liked him as a character. Why did I do that? I don't know, but he's okay. But I'm saying, old movies do not work in a vacuum. There's like a movie here that I'm gonna like film my reaction and like just talking head here. That's a Japanese film that's made during World War II, and it's completely set around being a thinly veiled propaganda film about Go Japan. It's actually beautifully shot, and actually really good, surprisingly. But I'm just warning you, movies being made and propaganda films that are thinly, like, sort of, are still really good, but there's propaganda in there, and it's like, you can tell if you know enough, and, hero worship stuff. There's stuff in the Criterion collection that's just hilarious once you figure out, like, the background of the director, or the background of the movie, or the background of the time, or the place, or the culture. I'm fantastic. But yeah, the old time movies can sometimes be really painful, because actually, new movies can even be painful, because the use of stereotype and, like, cultural jokes and racist portrayals, I mean, still don't always exist, but I've seen like 80s movies use blackface. What was that? Is that a Dan Aykroyd film? Yeah, it was. It was a Dan Aykroyd in blackface. What is that? I know it's a movie. I know it exists because I've actually seen it on TV, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, racist portrayals of things and horrible things still exist. I mean, people still talk about